prices of this, prices of that. But like,
Every 10 to 15 years, there's a crash. But listen, if you look at specific things, the big thing that no one pays attention to is the fact that a lot of the crashes are based on black swan events.
Hey everybody, it's Andre here. Welcome back to the channel. And in this very special video, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Henry Eisenstein. He is a real estate agent that I connected with a couple months ago on YouTube. I found him on YouTube initially after I was looking on ways to build and grow my real estate business. Henry is a real estate agent in New Jersey. He is the top 1% in his market. His real estate team sells over 100 houses every single year. That's more than 10 transactions every month, or more than 2 or 3 every single week. He's also a real estate investor, a real estate coach, and a content creator. I'm really excited to share this interview with you because me and Henry talk about where the market might be headed. Are we going to see a market crash? Common mistakes for buyers and sellers to avoid, and some guidance to help navigate the current real estate market. Because there's a lot of real estate news being published every single day on real estate prices, where the market is headed, where the mortgage rates are going to be in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And for the majority of it, most of it is hype, not help. It's what marketing teams and newspapers are doing to get people to click on and see the advertisements on the article, and not actually helping potential homeowners and first-time home buyers get into real estate and get into properties. But speaking with someone that sells 2 to 3 houses every single week, his experience and Henry's knowledge, not just in his specific market, but being able to identify trends well before the media catches on and sees them happening, because you're selling 2 to 3 houses every single week. You're gonna know if they're going into multiple offers or if they're not, or how much showing these properties are getting, or how much showings they're not getting. Are people moving in? Are people moving out? It's some really valuable information, so I hope you enjoy the video. So let's jump into it.
okay, cool, Henry. Thank you so much for hopping on the Zoom call. I wanted to quickly mention how we met, and it was through YouTube.
A little bit ago, right? I saw one of your cold calling videos, which is what I kind of do for my business to grow it. And I think I messaged you on Instagram saying the video was how you got 1,500 leads every single month to grow your business, which any realtors watching this is an insane amount to be able to grow your business, and we'll definitely grow it. But yeah, thank you so much for hopping on. Now we're doing a video together, so it's awesome. Crazy how YouTube connects us here.
Yeah, crazy, but yeah, thanks for having me, my friend.
So as a top realtor in your market, you're performing at a very high level. I'd say I would trust your opinion more than what a lot of the media and the market says. So obviously we're in different markets. I'm in Ontario, you in New Jersey, but I think the Canadian and American real estate market more or less have similar trends that you can identify. The first question I want to ask is, what are you currently seeing in your market? Is there a low supply of inventory and a shortage of houses for the buyers looking, like we're seeing here in Canada, where we're having crazy multiple offers and just not enough houses to go around?
Yeah, I think that we were trying to catch up to you. I think Ontario, Canada has been on fire for a very long time, and I think COVID just enforced that to the rest of the U.S.
Yeah.
We're seeing the same thing. Properties, there's definitely a shortage of inventory, a lot of homes going into multiple offer situations. But again, it sounds like, you've been in this scenario for a lot longer than I have.
Yeah. Well, we have, most of Canada is actually compressed to like a line towards the southern end, as much as we can towards New York. That's where the majority of people live. So even though Canada has so much land, no one's building out there. With what's going on, do you think there's do you think you see the market slowing down or increasing over the next couple of years? Because obviously the statistic we have right now is for every 10 families that want to buy a home, there's only 6 houses being built in Canada. And I think for the States, obviously you have different laws, but I think it's similar. The amount of time it takes to build a home, the amount of time that a family needs to move out and buy something, it's always going to be behind, right?
Yeah. I just saw a statistic stating that it looks like, based on the amount of homes that are being built and the demand that there is today, it would take about 9.5 years to meet the demand in the US, which is, insane.
Yeah, that's just to meet it, right? And then they're like, you're going to have continually buyers purchasing, millennials, with cheap mortgage rates. So do you think it's going to hold steady? You think prices are going to continually appreciate going forward?
Yeah, listen, I think that the old thoughts of appreciation being 1, 2, 3% a year is just not going to be the case anymore. Yeah. I think that we're going to continuously see, listen, it's not going to be like it once was, where in a matter of 18 months you saw 20 to 30% appreciation. I don't think that's sustainable whatsoever. But I do think it is sustainable based on, listen, it's all contingent on rates. If rates go to 6 or 7%, there's going to be a lot more issues that we need to talk about. But honestly, I think that things are going to, from what I've heard, there's not going to just be a massive crash. There's not going to just be this continuously skyrocket. I think there's just going to be a steady increase of somewhere between 4 and 6, 7, 8% a year in appreciation in most of the main markets, the bigger markets. Things like Manhattan have come back, at least quite a bit, and obviously for a number of years it was down, or not number of years, but for quite some time, number of months, it was very down. Started to pick up again. A lot of the major metropolitan areas in across the country are going to be doing well for quite some time.
That was going to be my next question. Obviously, you get on the phone with cold calling, or a lot of people like to talk about a potential crash happening. And I think there might be an opportunity for it, but it's going to, like, a lot of economical factors are going to play into that. And if you're a buyer waiting for 2 or 3 years for a crash to happen, it might not be the best move, because it might happen 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the road. But if you're buying for a long-term perspective, which, like we always say, just purchase to stay for that neighborhood or area for 5, 10, 15 years, it rebounded pretty quickly when it went down in 2008, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think anybody who's looking in the real estate world for investment purposes, or even a primary purpose, and you're looking at sub 2 to 3 years. Listen, who on planet Earth could possibly tell you a 2 to 3 year timeline? No one. I think of buying for a 2 to 3 year span. Look, unless you're looking to flip property, like I've done before, like a lot of people do, if you're always buying at the right prices, which there's always deals, it just might become less and less, but there's always deals to be made. That's a different story. But if you're purchasing for a primary residence or a buy and hold for under 3 year purpose, I think that buying is a very stupid thing to do. I mean, you're just never because I remember I have buyers that are coming to me saying, instead of renting, I want to buy for a little bit and then I'll sell it and I'll upsize. But Henry, I don't know if the market's going to be there or whatever in 2 to 3 years. I'm like, listen, anything in a 2 to 3 year window, how are you going to ever know? I buy for really 10, 20, 30 year windows if I'm buying to hold it as an investment property. I don't care what it does in the meantime. I just know in 10 or 20 years, it's probably going to be worth nearly double. You're probably not going to lose in a 20-year, 30-year window.
Do you think in 30 years prices could double?
100%. But think about it. Think about 20, 30 years ago.
Well, the average income 30 years ago in Ontario, Canada was probably 40% less than what it is now. At least, and I know that that's crazy to think about, but 30 years ago, the internet wasn't a major thing. Think about technology, think about all the other things that are going to come into play. I mean, I really think that the minimum wage is going to be probably 50 to 75% higher than it is today. I think the average income is going to be 50 to 75% higher in 30 years. I mean, that's just how life's been going. Think about 60 years ago. Average income. I mean, it was probably it's like probably 20% of what it is today.
It's crazy because obviously a lot of people I talk to, it's tough to wrap your head around the fact that, like, prices today may very well be the cheapest that they've ever been in a 10-year ratio, right? There might be there might be a little bit of a drop, which ultimately it doesn't even matter what price you purchase at, right? I mean, we have talked to people all the time, like, these prices are too high. These people are paying crazy money, but ultimately, if you're holding for 30 years, it's tough to wrap your head around.
Did your parents own the house you grew up in?
Yes, they do.
How much did they pay for it when they bought it?
I think it was $100,000.
What do you think it's worth today?
700, 800.
When did they buy it? How long ago?
That was like 20, 23 years ago, maybe. It was a while.
25 years ago, let's say, and it went up 7 times.
Yeah. Well, I do think most of real estate went like this, especially in the last year. But
think about the next 25 years. You don't think it's going to have some? I mean, listen, I don't think maybe it doesn't meet the 7x returns, but I think it's going to be at least a double, right?
Yeah, I take your word on it. There's so much news out there saying, okay, there's going to be a crash or prices of this, prices of that.
Every 10 to 15 years, there's a crash. But listen, if you look at specific things, the big thing that no one pays attention to is the fact that a lot of the crashes are based on black swan events that were outside of governmental, or economical controls. 2008, 2009, right? The major crash, the most recent one that you and I can remember, really, outside of COVID, right, was a black swan event. They had mortgage-backed securities that were really just not at all what they were rated. They were completely, E-regulated. You know, that's why it crashed. COVID caused a 50% drop off in some areas. You know, like people were dumping their properties. You know, like the market went to nothing. You know what I mean? Like the stock market went in half. But that happened to be, it was a black swan event.
What's a common mistake that you see newer or even experienced agents make when it comes to selling properties for the most amount of money for their clients? So as mentioned, you know, doing 10 transactions, if not more per month, you understand you have a system that goes for it. What's something you still see out there that, you know, common mistakes are being made?
Spending too much money on marketing for one property.
Okay.
There's just no need. Price it appropriately, you know, and stop promising ridiculous numbers to your clients. I mean, it's just like, you know what I'm just saying? Like a lot of people are doing a couple things. Number one, they go into a deal and they lead with lowering their commission.
Okay.
I'll do the deal for 1%. Right? I'm just saying hypothetically, whatever it is, right? They lead with their commission. Don't lead with commission, lead with value, right? Second is when it comes to pricing, you know, I think that a lot of us are just sort of like, yeah, whatever the heck you want to list it for, you list the property for. Right? And you're going to overprice the property, and then you're going to give them a terrible experience, and you don't even freaking call the client during the transactional period while it's on the market. Then they hate your guts, and then it doesn't sell, and then all of a sudden they hate realtors for no reason, but it's because they overpromised and underdelivered, right?
Communication is what I'm getting to that. Very
communication is a huge thing for newer agents. And take professional photography. Don't be stupid, and don't take pictures with your cell phone. Spend the money, but
yes,
you know. Other than that, I mean, the only other things that I could be suggesting for people is like, stop being a secret agent. You know, like if you're not on social media, I think like I also just say like, stop posting your listing on social media only. Like there are some Instagram accounts on social media of realtors, and the entire Instagram is just their listings.
Yeah.
What do I follow? Like no one really cares. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, no one's following you saying, hey, I'm waiting for this guy or girl to list a property in this neighborhood for this price point.
Yeah.
Record a video, record content, record everyday stuff, record like the day in the life things. What's going on? Like, no one really cares that you listed 123 Main Street and now it's under contract and now it closed. You know, like post something else.
Yeah, which is amazing advice for agents walking. Don't lead with a discount because ultimately commission is what plays into what we put into market the property.
Because you know, a lot of people have to understand, you can't retire on selling 4 to 6 houses a year.
Yeah.
You have to sell a lot of property to make a lot of money. You know, and that's why I push lead generation so hard, because listen, I mean, if you're not doing 40 to 60 transactions a year, making a couple $100,000 a year, if you're making under $100,000 a year, I mean, there's a lot of other jobs you can get that are easier.
Yeah.
This is a very stressful job to make $50,000 to $100,000.
Very true. Very true.
I mean, like you can work a 9 to 5 at a desk and go home and not have anybody stressing you out for 50 to 100 grand.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm willing to be stressed out for, you know, $500,000 plus, you know.
No, that's awesome, man. That's a really great insight for everyone watching. That's, again, to hear from a top 1% realtor who has an amazing team going forward and really just, again, in the thick of it as opposed to any type of news. Yeah, that's definitely something we all needed to hear. So thanks so much for your time. Henry, do you want to plug yourself? I'll definitely leave your contact info below. Any realtors watching, if you're looking for coaching or looking to join eXp Realty, you offer that as well. You're a content creator, which you have an awesome YouTube channel link for it, which is awesome. And yeah, anything else you want to say?
Listen, follow me anywhere, guys. Just Google my name at Henry Eisenstein. He'll have all my contact information down below. Love to connect, figure out how I can provide you some value. And hopefully you won't be one of the statistics, you know, because I know Andre's going to be crushing it, and he's already crushing it. I'm excited to see your success, my friend.
I appreciate it. Looking forward to talking again when I'm running my own real estate team, doing 100+ deals a month. And then we'll go
100 a month, man. That's definitely possible, but it's
that's international at that point. Let's go. Okay, Henry, thank you so much. We'll talk soon again.
A link in the description below for anyone wanting more information. Then we'll go from there. Okay, cheers.